you want to learn how to hang a balloon garland, keep watching. Hi, I'm Rachel with Bubbly Balloon Co. And in this video 3 of our balloon garland basics series, we're going to be going over how to attach a balloon garland to the wall like so. Now, if you missed videos 1 and 2 in this series, or you don't know how to make a balloon garland, go ahead and watch those so you see how we got to this point. So there are quite a few ways that you can hang a balloon garland. It's absolutely far and above best to hang into something secure, something that's already there in place, a permanent structure that won't go away. Nails work, screws work, or stairwell, but a lot of the jobs I've done, there's nothing to go off of in place, and then I'm left having to provide my own mount. I found that in a lot of situations, command hooks work out pretty well, so that's what I'm going to be going with today. Now, all I had were half-pound command hooks. I usually use 2-pound command hooks. I'm just all out of them at the moment, but half-pound tend to work too, as long as you're not putting anything too heavy up there. If I was going to add in a bunch of florals or something like that, I would definitely either go with a ton of these or with some heavier duty or 2-pound or 5-pound hooks, okay? But you can see I've put 3 up so far. We've got one here, one here, one here. With command hooks, they do recommend putting them on the wall at least an hour in advance of when you're going to need to use it. Some of them even take, I think, 24 hours, but these only take 1 hour to cure. So as soon as you get to the location, or if you're throwing the party at your own house, you want to put those on sooner rather than later. Give them time to really attach to the wall. And what's awesome about them is if you take them off correctly, they actually don't damage the wall. I have had them damage a couple of times when it was like really finicky paint or wallpaper or something like that. So I can get like a little bit, I get a little nervous sometimes, but for me personally, in my own house, in my own space, I've never had a problem with them. So especially if you're doing this for a client, I always recommend, like, they give me a location where there's already something in place that I can attach to, and if there isn't, then I warn them, hey, this is what I'm going to be using, is that okay with you? This is how you take it down safely to avoid damage, show them the directions on the box, that kind of thing. I can do other videos later to show other ways to hang things, but for now, this is, I think, the most common way, so this is what we're going to be starting with. We have our balloon garland here. I'm going to kind of place it on the wall and see approximately how I'm going to want it laid out. I actually think that's pretty much exactly what I want. I think it's shaped pretty good for what I'm going for here. So I'm just going to kind of look and see where my attachment points are. I've got one behind here, I've got one right in here, and then my third one is right behind this meaty cluster here. So I'm going to start probably with the middle one to take off some of that weight so that I can go and attach the top and bottom without worrying about it fluffing all over the place. And again, for these, a lot of times I will use 260s. There are many other things you can use, fishing line, ribbon, you name it, but I really like 260s. I find them incredibly easy to work with. They don't ever damage the balloons, and they're very easy to move and readjust if you need to, but they're also secure enough to hold it in place when you don't want it to move. So what I'm going to do to attach this to the command hook is I'm going to go ahead and make a loop in my 260, and I'm going to pull the end through just so it's a little circle like that. And then I'll go ahead and attach it straight onto the hook and kind of gently pull. These being only half-pound hooks, if I were to really yank on this, it would probably just come right off. So I'm going to be a little bit gentle with it, but I'm going to go ahead and attach it like this and leave it hanging just like that for later use. I'll go ahead and do the same thing on the upper and lower ones, so I'm not trying to get behind it once the garland's up there, especially if I'm holding it myself. It can get a little tricky. So I'm going to make another loop and pull the end through. And go ahead and tie that on. Now you can see I need it a little tighter. There we go. You can test it out like that, and that's going to be perfect. And again, on the lower one, just make a loop, pull the end through, and attach. So now I've got my 3 attachment points ready to go. So I'm going to start with the middle one, like I said, and all I'm going to be doing is wrapping this around several different balloons many times until it's really supporting the weight and in the right kind of place I want it to be. So I've got my 260 here. I'm going to start pulling it through. So you can see I had to reshape a little bit. When I tied it up, it kind of got twisted a little bit. So I just did a gentle reshaping there. And you are taking care as you attach this to hide all of your attachment points. It's not a big deal if they're visible, but I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I like to try to hide them wherever I can. Now I have to say, from the side, I can hardly even see the attachment points, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now if you're happy with how this looks, then you can call it a done. Me personally, I want to take it to that extra level, so I'm going to go ahead and add a bunch more to it, and if you want to see how to take it from this into this, then watch the next video in the series. If you have any questions on how I hung it, alternate methods of hanging, anything like that, just ask me in the comments below and I will do my best to get back to each and every one of you as best I can. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned anything out of this video, if you found it helpful at all, please go ahead and click that like button below. Feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you in the next video.